my pleasure to introduce the last speaker, Michela Redivo-Zaglia from University of Padua, where she's a full professor. And again, so I feel like for everybody, I go and I look at at CVs and to see kind of the background, and it's like there's too much to describe, but very, very accomplished, and has done a lot of work, and has done a lot of work now in some of these historical things, and including a forthcoming book which will be advertised, which I'm now looking forward to reading. I didn't even know about it until Gérard mentioned it in his talk before I got sick. Sorry, without further ado, let me, I give the floor to you, Michela.
Thank you for the nice introduction. And the title of my talk report the names of the two well-known researchers, Philip Stein and Ruben Louis Rosenberg. And this is a joint work because, as you see later, we wrote a book together, and the idea of giving some history on the life and work of these two researchers coming just from this book. So I think that all people know, all mathematicians, the Stein-Rosenberg theorem on the convergence of the Jacobian and Gauss-Seidel methods for solving system of linear equation. And this theorem became a standard in courses of numerical linear algebra. I speak about this theorem in my courses in the Faculty of Engineering, so not only for mathematics. And it is an important effort in matrix theory and iteration process. So I will remind briefly the theorem, but the second part of this talk try to answer to this question. Who were Stein and Rosenberg? So, and I will try to show you what we discovered on for these two researchers. So the landscape is obviously a system of linear equation. We consider A as a decomposition of three matrices, a diagonal matrix T, a two triangular matrices, and the method of Jacobi consists in producing this kind of iteration. Instead, the method of Gauss-Seidel consists in this kind of iteration. And the iteration matrices for these two methods are respectively indicated here as B and L, calligraphic L 1. And it is well known that the method converges if the spectral radius of the iteration matrix is strictly smaller than 1. And what Stein-Rosenberg proved is they are able to show that both methods I described are simultaneously convergent or divergent. And he compares their asymptotic speeds of convergence. Here is the well-known theorem. And this result, in fact, with this theorem was proved in a paper submitted in June 1947. This is the paper on the solution of linear simultaneously equation by iteration, published 1 year later. And this is the original first page of this paper. What there is the contents of this paper by manipulating the original system. They reformulated it as this x equal cx plus d, with c equal r plus r, and they defined two, starting from that, iterative methods. The first one, I put here the original notation of Stein and Rosenberg. They called this iteration O, capital O, and it corresponds to Gauss-Seidel, and this kind of iteration, capital S, and it corresponds to Jacobi method. They defined the error vector in such way where this zeta n is equal for the iteration capital O to this product, with C star equal to this product of two matrices. And for the method they called capital S, this is the definition of zeta n. And they recalled some known sufficient condition for convergence, but their main result is to compare both methods when the matrix C contains no negative entries. And they are able to prove that if lambda or mu lambda is the maximum positive eigenvalue of capital C, and mu what the same for C, capital C star, then both methods converge if lambda is greater than mu and strictly less than 1. And they both diverge if lambda satisfies this relation. The proof of the theorem is based on the Meurant-Frobenius theorem due to these two researchers, Oscar Perron and Ferdinand George Frobenius, for the first one in 1907, and for the second one in 1912. And there is another proof based on always on the Perron-Frobenius theorem that was given by William Morton Kahn in 1958. Motivation for the question: who are Stein and Rosenberg? On early 2020, with Claude and Gérard Meurant, we started a project for a book that now is in a production step and will be published by SIAM. This book, this is the title, contains a bibliography with 3,344 references, but also 78 short biography of researchers who contributed significantly to the field of numerical linear algebra. Of course, we wished to insert the two biographies of Stein and Rosenberg, and this is a provisional cover of a SIAM book. There is the neck here, Stifel, I think Claude know better than me and see better than me the two researchers you mentioned previously. So, biography. For the biography of Philip Stein, this is Philip Bernard Stein, is not so difficult. because in fact we look at a certain number of sources that gave us the possibility to, to have information, detailed information about him. There is also an autobiography of Stein, very interesting, that we can. There are, of course, the biography in MacTutor, one of the main sites for the biography in the world. We look at them very, very often. And these two books of Bill Guest are also very important, since they, in some way, they helped us to discover something about Rosenberg. And there is also this technical report of Restlessness and Todd, Jack Todd, that Claude mentioned. Philip Bernard Stein was presumably born in Svenska, and this fact presumably is because Stein himself wrote that we don't know exactly where he born, and also his birthday is not sure that it was exactly January 25. And he comes from a Jewish family, and he had 4 sisters. The family emigrated to Cape Colony in South Africa in 1897, and attended a college, normal college boy, in Cape Town, and he was awarded a bursary for 1 year. After graduating, he studied at the South African College in Cape Town. And at that time, this college teach at the university level, but was not able to deliver degrees of university. So he passed the examination and he obtained the scholarship again for 1 year, and in the South African College. And while it was in this college, he was awarded of the BA degree with honors in applied mathematics by the University of Cape of Good Hope. In 1909, he also won another scholarship that allowed him to go in Cambridge. So he spent 3 years in Cambridge, UK, studying for the mathematical triples. But this is written, for instance, also in the MacTutor biography. But there is a sentence, some sentence in his autobiography, very, very funny, because he wrote that in these 3 years at Cambridge, in practice, he do not attend the lecture, he don't study. I spent nearly all my time in Cambridge sitting in my living room near the fire and reading general literature or playing billiards in a billiard saloon. So, in fact, this is what he wrote in his autobiography. After his return to South Africa, Stein worked in the railway office in Johannesburg, but in about, the date is not sure, 1970, he joined the staff of the South African School of Mine and Technology in Johannesburg. In 1918, William Nicholas Rosenberg, who had been the first professor of pure and applied mathematics in Nata University College, want to take a leave. Stein contacted him and offered his services, and this is the occasion and the start of the work of Philip Stein in the Nata University College. He moved there and he was appointed as a lecturer in this university. The same year, he married Lily Rolnick, with whom he had 3 children. Up to this time, Stein was not as a researcher, in fact. He had never studied for a doctorate. And Rosenberg encouraged him to undertake research, and we come back again in Cambridge, this time with his family, for studying for a PhD. And at Cambridge, his thesis advisor was the well-known John Edelson Littlewood. And Stein undertook research on the theory of function. And he was awarded of a doctorate in 1931 for 2 dissertations. These are the title of the dissertation. Back home in South Africa in 1931, was appointed as a professor. Before he was only lecturer in a newly founded, established college of the University of Natal, but in Durban, another town. And he stayed in this position until his retirement in 1955. And again, he wrote in his biography. I have not too much time. I leave the slide just a moment for rereading after. It seemed that he was a very nice person. He wrote also, I'm at peace, I'm not waiting, but when my time comes, hoping that it will not end in a long and painful illness, I will go tranquil. And he died on January 7, 1974, at the age of 83 in London. For the work, several papers, again, other quotation from his biography. He was an humble person. You know, he wrote, my research is not very significant. So he's very humble, and he speak about what he considered a result a little bit important, a proof of Ritz theorem, and in fact he refers to this paper published in 1933. In the late 1940s, Stein began to collaborate on numerical analysis with the Reverend Louis Rosenberg, a lecturer in applied mathematics that Stein himself recruited for the Natal University College, and who resigned in 1949. And coming from this collaboration, they wrote the joint paper that I wrote before, containing the famous theorem. In the introduction of this paper, they wrote this last sentence. We are indebted to Dr. Olga Tosky for advice on some points. Olga Tosky was the wife of Jack Todd, Claude mentioned. And she was the referee of the manuscript, and she noted its importance and novelty. And as a result of this paper, Stein visited the National Bureau of Standards in the US, and there wrote 3 papers. And in this autobiography, he comments something about Olga Tosky. What about Rosenberg? Nothing. No biographical sources are available. We were only able to find some small sentences, some small pieces of interest in different sites, in different documents. So a real puzzle to recompose, to link, for reconstructing his life. This is the only photo we found. We are trying to find other photo, but for the moment, this is the only photo we found. Rosenberg was born in South Africa in 1909, and he obtained a BA from the University of Cape Town, and the next year a Magister Artium with a distinction in applied mathematics in the same university. He was awarded a PhD from the University of Berlin, magna cum laude, with a thesis in German that is not a thesis in mathematics, but it is a thesis plenty of formulae of mathematics. And this thesis apparently was only published as a paper in Annalen der Physics. Tomorrow, Claude will see at the Bibliothèque Nationale de Paris the thesis they have, but we think that is this paper. This is the first page we obtained in the web, from the web of the thesis. And in the last page, he thanked F. Möglich from the University of Cape Town. We don't know up now who is this man. And thanks also the same university for Queen Victoria Memorial Scholarship. He received a Bate Fellowship from the Imperial College of Science in London, and there he undertake theoretical investigation of topics connected with quantum mechanics. And there he obtained the DIC, and his supervisor was Professor Sidney Chapman, and this is the title of this of his thesis that apparently is a work that it was split into 3 papers. Then, when he was in London, he met and married Violet Eva Archer, and he had 2 daughters named after the star Gail and Zita. This is a family tree: his father, his mother, Rosenberg, and his wife, and the 2 daughters. In 1935, after a brief period in the University of in Johannesburg, thanks to Philip Stein, he obtained an appointment as a senior lecturer in applied mathematics in the Natal University College in the town of Pietermaritzburg. Stein after was in Durban, another site of the same university. In 1940, he joined the armed forces, and this is we found a letter published in the web in April 2000, this year, 22. And in this letter, written by a nephew of Reuben to another parents of him, we found a funny anecdote that when he joined the armed forces, he don't want to be an officer. So he said, I'm a plumber. And before leaving the North Africa, there was a training, of course, and Rosenberg was bored, starting to shooting little pebble, and one of these pebble joined his sergeant, and he was sent to detention barracks for 10 days. But after the exam, he received a score very, very high. And so the sergeant and the other people investigated and discovered his true occupation, not a plumber. So he was immediately transferred to the gas laboratories as office commander and was sent north. He spent, after the war, spent time continuing his research in atomic physics at the physics department. So he obtained a leave for 2 years to the Bristol University in England. And it was at that time that the paper with Stein appeared. And after this paper, it seemed that he never returned to numerical linear algebra. In 1949, I resigned from Natal University College. We became senior lecturer in the Chelsea Polytechnic in London. And after, in 55, he took the position of head of the mathematics department at the University of New Brunswick in Canada. So he immigrated in Canada. It was during this period at the New Brunswick University, he had plenty of title, president, so on, vice president. And he published several books for students, and he also supervised a thesis in physics from Misan Raman. It was pretty known. I found some information about. He died too, unfortunately. Having a sabbatical leave from the University of New Brunswick, was affiliated to the National Research Council in Ottawa, Canada, too. And from 1966, he was at Carleton University in Ottawa as a professor in the Department of Mathematics. Again, other important chairman of the Senate and so on. And probably after the retirement, he stayed in the same department as a sessional lecturer in mathematics. And after his death, the daughter, friends and academic colleagues founded a memorial scholarship in mathematics that still is actually awarded to some student each year. We found a photo probably of this tome and for this work. Rosenberg published a certain number of papers in various journals. We found for the moment about 12 papers, but in fact the contents of this paper are in general on physics, not in mathematics. This is a list of one of the paper we put here, but what it is interesting that he published during his life in Ottawa, he published 4 papers with this Chinese physicist who worked in the United States, very famous, and called the father of Chinese physics. So I think this is important for showing that Rosenberg is considered a good researcher. So I thank you for your attention, and we hope to come again with other information in the future. The life of Rosenberg, that up to now it seemed to be completely forgotten from this point of view. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michela. Any questions or comments?
For the Rosenberg, it's fascinating how complicated his life was. You know, it's amazing.
A real puzzle to recompose. Yes. It's very, very difficult because he was in several not only town but country and continents, so it was really difficult. And as you can imagine, Rosenberg is a name so common in the world, and we found several R.L. Rosenberg, but so we have to choose the information.
You have spent 1 year by unpuzzling this detective story, I guess. But it's also interesting, you know, how many theorems are there about Gauss-Seidel and Jacobi based on different assumptions. It's also a beautiful part of thing, you know, that's this is for non-negative matrices. Yeah. If you don't have these assumptions, that there is a couple of interesting theorems that also compare this behavior, and it's really interesting. It's very nice. I actually didn't remember this theorem from my academic childhood, so thank you very much for putting that. Yes.
Look at the book of Richard Largat.
Yes. Yeah, I know, but it was for me dominated by the positive definiteness and this then, you know, this. So
also for irreducible method.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
But what is strange with Rosenberg is that how could he obtain a PhD in Berlin, and we don't know if he went to Berlin or if he was. We contacted some German friend, but they told us that all the archives have been destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, unless there's any other questions or comments, I want to thank all of you for taking part. Michela in particular for sort of answering our call at the last moment.
Yeah.
It really
it was really a pleasure.
It was a pleasure.
I was very interested in this part of research in the book since the other organizer we contacted him some time ago, exactly for the thesis in Munich and so on. So
Perfect.
it was the good occasion for showing what we are able to find up now.
This is perfect. It worked perfectly. So I guess I will let you all know when this is posted and where, and also once Rachel's talk on character theory is recorded, and we'll have these all together.
Okay.
Thank you so much. And
Thank you to you.
yes,
Yeah.
you're very welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you very
Bye.
much.
You're very welcome.
Thanks for
Bye,
all.
Zenek.
It was nice seeing you,
Nice to meet
Michela
you.
and Claude, and
Uh,
of course
Stenya,
Kirk. Yes.
Stenya,
Nice
we
to
will see
meet
each other in
you.
Hope
Oh,
to
Huh?
hope to see you in sometimes in the near future in person.
I will be
yeah.
twice in Prague myself, so I know we will see each other.
Sure. Bye-bye.
So-
Bye-bye.